Thrifting ain't easy, unless you're watching me. Welcome! You're watching the thrift store rundown of a leaping Hollywood home on a budget. Just like rules, in general, were made to be both broken and followed, so too were our egos. And believe me, many of us, myself included, do have an ego. We're made to be both broken, but by the same token, uplifted. While we can't get rid of our egos in general, I believe if we follow a few key life lessons, in the long run, we'll be more in sync with the intricacies and essentials of ourselves and our corners of the world. So welcome to the School of Smart-Alecs. In this classroom, I'm laying down 5 key rules of ego engagement. Lesson numero uno, don't judge a street by its name. We'll check into that as soon as we check into Milk Street's The New Rules Cookbook, with recipes that will change the way you cook, inspired by Christopher Kimball's globe-spanning adventures. If you're unaware, for the past few years, the former bow-tie-in-chief of America's Test Kitchen and Cooks Illustrated has been running a new Boston-based venture called Milk Street. With a name like Milk Street in a place like Boston, you would think that it would be about the foods of Kimball's New England youth and Yankee heritage. Oh, but if you ever bought and read a Milk Street cookbook like I have many times, you'd be sorely and deliciously mistaken. This voracious publication, an imprint of Little Brown & Company, was purchased for $4.99 from Unique Thrift Store, home base here in Paterson. Here's another new rule off the bat. From here on out, I'll be listing every thrift store where I buy every item from, with no exceptions. I've done this for many thrift stores outside of Unique, because they're home base. It's kind of familiar to you by now, but if I don't list them, some of you might get confused. So that's the new rule. I'll mention every thrift store where I buy every item from. Anyway, enough about that rule. Let's get on to Milk Street's new rules for the new home cooking. 75 in all. Baddest one-note flavors and textures. Treat herbs as greens, not garnish. Stagger your cooking. Bloom seasonings and fat for bigger flavor. Caramelized pasta for deeper, richer flavor. Punch up pasta and noodles with savory flavors. Stick with single-sided searing, cook gentle, seasoned strong. Hit repeat for better, bigger flavor. Stop searing your meat. Give meat an acidic finish. Sear on the stovetop, cook in the oven. Salt your drinks, not your glassware. 75 in all. These rules are practiced in recipes that are divided into the usual suspects. You know, the average food pyramid, if you can make one, of cookbooks. Veggies, beans, grains, noodles, breads, eggs, seafood, chicken, pork, beef, no desserts. I'm going to highlight one recipe per each chapter. So let's see, we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 recipes to highlight here. 8 rules that will change the way you cook, they say. Let's get started. Rule number 1. Banish one-note flavors and textures with this bitter greens and orange salad with walnuts and goat cheese. That'll take you 15 minutes to whip up and serve 4. For each rule they listed here, they give you a little summary of how this rule works. Simplistic flavors and textures lack interest. A balance of contrasting flavors and textures allows each to shine without dominating. And mandatory photograph note, they all look scrumptious, not to mention plentiful, as there's a photograph for every recipe in here. And for some, there are a few step-by-step photographic instructions to help the prep work go by a little more smoothly. Up next, rule number 18. Don't let neutral ingredients stand alone. So how does this rule work? Pair neutral ingredients such as lentils or grains with brighter, sharper flavors for balance and impact. This rule can be practiced with the lentils with Swiss chard recipe with pomegranate molasses. That'll take you 40 minutes to whip up, and that serves 4. Up next, rule number 28. Punch up pasta and noodles with savory flavors. Pasta and noodles are bland by themselves. big, bold flavors carry the day for these types of dishes. That bowl's especially true for Malaysian-style noodles with pork and mushrooms. A half-hour recipe to do. Again, serving an average family of 4. Number 41. Start on the stovetop, finish in the oven. This rule can be applied in the Southeast Asian-style mushroom omelet. 30 minutes to make, plus a cool-down time. You don't want third-degree burns when you're breaking in these new rules, right? Rule number 43. Cook gentle, season strong. A gentle, even heat is best for keeping delicate flesh of fish tender. Steamed fish with shiitake mushrooms is the recipe that practices that rule. 40 minutes to make, again serving an average family of 4. And the fish called for in here, you could use 4 sit-out skinless cod, haddock, or halibut fillets, each about 1 inch thick. Rule number 57, cook first, flavor last. The recipe that makes that rule legit, Peruvian-style tangy chicken with red onions and bell pepper. 50 minutes to make, plus a mandatory resting time. And again, that serves 4. Most of, if not all the recipes in here serve 4, some may serve 6 or 8, depending on how many people you want to feed. Here we have a Mexican wedding stew with pork, asado de bodas. I'm part Puerto Rican, even though this is Mexican, so it's kind of in me to try and get these pronunciations down some pat. But if you've ever been to a wedding and you were so bored with the food to the point where you just lost your lid, or anything else might have happened for that matter, wedding food isn't always bad. Most accounts it can be good. That might have made you lost your lid. Well, how about this? You try serving this up at your next wedding, and if your next wedding is imminent, felicidades. For those out of the loop, that's Spanish congratulations. Anyway, try serving this up or have it at somebody else's wedding, and we'll see if you lose your lid. Then again, most people don't really lose their lids when they're eating food at a wedding. Anyway, rule number 66. Lose the lid to concentrate flavors. That's what I'm basing my summary on. Alright, one more recipe. One more rule. Finishing the way we started. Amen to that. Finish the dish the way you start. Finishing the dish with a repeat hit of seasoning used during cooking creates layers of interest and helps reinforce flavor. You will want to adhere to this rule to a T when you make Thai stir-fried beef with basil, pad, krapao, nua. And that'll take you half an hour to make. And, say with me, it serves 4. There you go. These are Milk Street Shakes and Stirs, a guide to building better cocktails the Milk Street way. In the same way that they, construct their recipes, layers of flavor count. Smokiness and tartness, just a hint of saltiness, etc. I want to focus on drinks for summer soirees, and to give you a couple recipes for pomegranate mimosas and grenadine. We're getting close to that time again, so best be prepared now. They also have a rose lemon syrup and cherry rose sparkling lemonade mocktail to take care of everybody here. Some of the chapters in here include guides to take one ingredient and transform it a few different ways, using different cooking techniques. I should say all the chapters in here include that particular guide. Like how to cook garlic 5 different ways to, keep the flavor intact, but reduce it down just a bit so it doesn't become too unpalatable for those who are garlic sensitive and or dating Edward Cullen wannabe. Why do I have to mention Edward Cullen, a Christopher Kimball cookbook review? What's wrong with me? Anyway, the major rule to follow in here is never judge a street by its name. Again, you see here Milk Street. I'll explain the reason why. You think with a name like Milk Street, it would be all American food. But as you see it here, and with the other Milk Street cookbooks I've reviewed, and we'll link in the description below, downstairs if you want to check it out, Milk Street is all about adapting cooking techniques and flavorings from around the world to the American home cook, livening it up any average weekday, weeknight, weekend, etc. That is the new home cooking according to Kimball and Company. So, never judge a street by its name. I mean, you never really know what's going down in any Presidential Boulevard or Main Street, of course, or Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard until you actually been there. And I assume almost all of us have been there. And ideally, on those streets and neighborhoods, they should be places where peace, love, and liberty reign. And they should also be good shopping and dining destinations. Come on, we're still TSR. Anyway, we have here new flavors, new techniques, and new recipes. The new rules. All in a playbook that makes cooking fun again. This retails for $35 in the US and $44 in Canada. And receives 5 out of 5 claps, just because it does span the globe. And it's so thorough in its rules. All adaptable, all easy to follow. And in my view, if you break them just a little bit, they might be even better. Anyway, that's that. Milk Street, the new rules. These rules are definitely worth following and breaking. And if you're new to Milk Street, they're certainly worth breaking in. Milk Street Kitchen. It wasn't a mood point then, it still ain't one now. Thanks for tuning in. Just so you know, there's no limit to bringing Hollywood home on a budget. Please go ahead and check out another awesome review like this one by clicking here, and make sure you subscribe by clicking here. Until next time, I'll catch you, as I always do, on the flip side.